Hi everyone, you are watching Cheers Richie, and in this video, I'm going to talk about whiskey again, but I promise you that I won't be drinking any whiskey this time. You know, there are three types of whiskey owners. First type is the drinkers, who just drink whiskey. Second type is the collectors, who just collect any whiskey that are made from their favorite distilleries. The third type is the investors, who is constantly looking for rare and high demanding whiskeys on the market to invest. Believe or not, I have friends who doesn't really drink whiskeys, but have a few bottles of rare whiskeys in their collections. I also have been asked by friends about what kind of whiskey should they collect and invest. That's right, in this video, I'm going to talk about the latest popular single malt whiskeys to collect and invest for beginners. 15 years ago, if you were drinking Japanese whiskey, people might think you could not afford a good bottle of Scotch whiskey. 6 years ago, if you were drinking Japanese whiskey, you could be considered a person at the top of the trend in the world of whiskey. If you are still drinking Japanese whiskey at this moment, congratulations! You may be considered as the rich people in the world of whiskey. Since the Japanese distillery Yamazaki, owned by Suntory Company, won their first International Spirits Challenge Gold Award in 2003, and for the next 10 years from 2003 to 2013, they have won more international awards for their whiskey each year. Because of that, it generates strong demands and interest in Japanese whiskey around the globe. And the demand is still growing. Unfortunately, many Japanese distillers did not expect to have the huge sudden increase in the demand of their whiskey. This caused their supplies and whiskey inventories to run low, and it needed to take few more years to recover and allow their whiskey to mature and ready to bottle. Here, I have a bottle of Yamazaki 18 years old, and in 2011, this was sold for $100 US. And because of the shortage in supply, it's easily cost $800 to $1,000 US nowadays. There are also other popular Japanese single malt whiskies, such as Hakushu, Yoichi, and the famous blended whiskey, Hibiki. If you see any of these with a mature age of 12 years old or older, I suggest you try to get them for your whiskey collection and investment. Alright, let's bring back our topic to Scotland. If you are looking to invest Scottish whiskies, and you are looking for distilleries that are still active and open these days, you don't want to miss this distillery, Macallan. Macallan was found in 1824 and currently under the Edrington Group. Macallan is the third highest selling single malt Scotch, next to Glenfiddich and Glenlivet. It has outstanding quality, distinctive character, and is one of the most valuable whiskey brands for collectors and investors over the years. Macallan has forged its reputation based on its sherry taste. And if you have an opportunity to grab a bottle like this one, Macallan 18 years old, sherry oak cask, or even older, I suggest you try to get it for your whiskey collection and investment. A bottle like this one, Macallan 18 years old, sherry oak cask, is always rare to be found in your local liquor store, but extremely popular for people to enjoy personally or during business occasions. Well, you may say, but Richie, I already know about Macallan distilleries and try their bottles. Is there other Scotch whiskey distillery that I should be following and investing? The answer is yes. The next distillery I'm going to introduce to you is the next future star. In fact, it already is an extremely popular distillery over the recent years. It's located on the island of Islay and is known as the nickname Peak Monster. The distillery is called Ardbeg. Let me share some interesting facts with you about Ardbeg. The distillery had its up and down times. It was founded in 1815, and like most Scottish distilleries, Ardbeg whiskey was produced for use in blended whiskey rather than as a single malt. In 1981, Ardbeg Distillery was closed after running into some financial difficulties, and in 1989, the distillery was resumed to make whiskey on a very small scale. After closing again in 1996, the owners at that time decided to put the distillery up for sale. It was bought in 1997 by another distillery, Glenmorangie. At last, Ardbeg was back on its whiskey distillation. In 2005, the luxury giant Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy, known as LVMH, had acquired both Scottish distilleries Glenmorangie and Ardbeg into their business. Since that, Ardbeg has become known for its rich peated whiskey, very easily identifiable by their fullness of body and perfect harmony of flavor. It was awarded by Jim Murray's Whiskey Bible with the World Whiskey of the Year title in 2008, 2009, and 2010. Most importantly, Ardbeg Distillery has won the Distillery of the Year for 3 consecutive years from 2018 to 2020 at the International Whiskey Competition. Ardbeg also has the biggest fan club called the Ardbeg Committees, which a worldwide membership of over 120,000 members and counting. Other than Ardbeg's current line of whiskey such as the Ardbeg 10 Years Old, the Angola, the Ukido, and the Corey Reckon, each year there will be a special release on May 30th, which the distillery call it the celebration of Ardbeg Day. However, not just on the Ardbeg Day, the distillery will also release some of their special limited bottle once a while. If you see any of these Ardbeg special limited releases, I suggest you try to get them for your whiskey collection and investment. Here, I have a bottle of the Private Reserve Ardbeg 21 Years Old single cask. The bottle was selected from a single cask which was distilled back in 1999, shortly after the distillery was back on running their production line. It is an extremely rare bottle because this is the first time that Ardbeg has decided to release its single cask for private collectors around the world. What makes it even more difficult is that you have to personally know the private collectors who acquire the single cask from Ardbeg distilleries in order to obtain the bottle. Lastly, if you like my content, please hit the like and subscribe button to support my YouTube channel. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!